Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about products that I would recommend under $100. Let's say you don't have much money, but you want to get invested. Now ultimately, obviously, when you have more capital and the more capital that you can deploy to put towards investing, you're always going to do better. That's just the case. So ultimately, yes, I would focus on getting more capital, but if you just want to get into it and you want to have fun, here are some things that I would recommend, and I'm actually going to start with things I wouldn't recommend. So think of this almost as a tier list or a listing. There's 14 things on this list, and it all ranges from stuff that I wouldn't buy to stuff I would buy at its current price. And yeah, let's just go ahead. Destined Rivals is going to be number 14. Now, specifically, this is the ETB, the Elite Trainer Box. Guys, almost 2 times MSRP. For a brand new Elite Trainer box is not the smartest idea. As you can see, it's already dropped off heavily in terms of market price, and I expect as we get more reprints, this is going to keep going down. Okay, it's kind of impossible to sustain such a high demand across so many different sets, and eventually the price of newer sets that are getting heavy reprints in the current era are probably going to go down. I think this is going to reach MSRP at some point, and then bounce back up. So I would wait for another buying opportunity then. Next, we have Surging Sparks Elite Trainer Box. Not much to say here. This is number 13. Again, wouldn't really recommend picking one up at $105. Again, I think Pokemon Company thinks Surging Sparks is probably one of the big factors that launched prices, and they would be somewhat right with that. I think it's mainly Pocket, but that's a whole other topic. I don't think this is a good pickup at $100, and I think your money is better put elsewhere. Prismatic Evolutions Booster Bundles at $60. This is almost the exact same price as a 151 bundle, and 151 has been out much longer than Prismatic. Guys, just wait. Trust me, just wait. I am seeing these everywhere at card shows. People are holding tons of them. Bundles are something they historically reprint a lot of. If you see 151, the ETBs are actually holding up amazingly well, but I think that's because they don't have any reprints of those. But it does seem like they're really pushing bundle reprints. I think it's because they're so easy. There's no ancillary stuff. There's no like dice and tokens or whatever. So that makes the bundles really easy for Pokemon Company to print. And so I think we're gonna get a lot more of these. So hold on to your cash. Do not go for the bundle. Now here's when we start to get to things I would maybe consider buying. If you have zero exposure to Prismatic Evolutions, maybe buy some. This is the lowest it's kind of gone, in this kind of 80s range. I think if you find some local deals, you might be able to get it for like 90, 80. Yes, that's double MSRP. It has been out a few months. If you have zero exposure and you're really FOMOing, you have a high risk tolerance, go for it. You can always DCA later, technically. Personally, though, I am seeing these everywhere at card shows like the bundles, and I do think we're going to get another reprint. Now, look, could this be a 151 ETB situation where there's only a few waves of ETB reprints and the price never actually reaches MSRP because we're in the current hype cycle and just lasts that long? Maybe. But to me, I think there's actually a higher chance of demand falling off in the summer, more reprints coming for these ETBs, and the price being driven down lower. Again, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not going to claim to tell you I know what's going to happen. This is all speculation. It's market speculation. It is, it's like throwing darts on a board. But if I were to put money on something, I would put money on it going down. I think you just can't have this much supply if demand just ends up falling off as we get new sets. Black Bolt White Flare is going to take a lot of heat off of Prismatic Evolution's demand. I know it. I know people love to rip it, but guys, this ETB price will go down eventually. Speaking of ETBs that did go down, Shining Fates. Now, if you don't know, Shining Fates was one of the most reprinted sets of all time, guys. There was so much of this set. People over FOMO'd for this. They overhyped themselves and they bought a shit ton. Honestly, the set is not amazing. You have one good chase card. You have one good card in the Charizard Remax. And that's kind of it. Skyla is a cool card, but let's be honest, not many people they're not gonna buy an ETB to chase that. Baby Shinies are somewhat cool, but historically don't do amazingly. Yeah, this is a pretty atrocious set. I don't think Prismatic is going to reach Shining Fates levels. I think Prismatic just has too much going for it. It's too good. Um, but does that mean that Shining Fates is now a buy because it's been out for so long? Yes and no. I think there's so much of it that it's going to take longer for it to reach the higher price points compared to other sets. And I wouldn't necessarily put my money in it, but if you put your money in it, I don't think it's going to be bad. I don't think you're going to like lose all of it, if that makes sense. I just don't think it's going to grow very fast. Because we're kind of in this mid section. And speaking of middle of the pack, Shrouded Fable, Pokemon Center, Elite Trainer Box. This Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box was on for the longest. Every single other Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box sold out before this one. Nobody likes this set. Nobody likes Petrunt as a promo. And that means that Pokemon is never going to reprint it. And that means that this Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box is going to be one of the rarest things in the space. Does that mean people are going to pay top dollar for it? I don't know. If you look at Dragon Majesty ETBs, those are like $600. But that set sucked. And so some sets will just naturally go up because they suck. They weren't printed very much. And it's just kind of a cool collectible if you want to have everything, right? If you want to have every Pokemon Center ETB and you need this ETB eventually at some point, right? It's going to be hard to find because it's just going to be scarce. And honestly, people rip this because it's so cheap. Like, I ripped a few Pokemon Center ETBs because I didn't really care that much. I just wanted to rip packs. And I could see this having gains. It's already had like a good amount of gains. Like, guys, a Pokemon Center ETB selling for $66 is kind of unheard of. You're kind of losing money at that point because you're paying for shipping and stuff. Like, this is how much it costs on a Pokemon Center. So, Shrouded Fable is a historically bad set. It does have a good Persian. Does have a cool Houndoom IR, but like these are, it's not great. It's not great. Pokemon Center ETB is a little better, but honestly, I wouldn't. Still, I think there's better things on this list that I would recommend. Paldean Fates booster bundles. Now, this is interesting. We haven't gotten many reprints of these. Like, weirdly, I feel like we haven't. We did get a few months ago, I feel like. But the price on these has just been climbing steadily. And if we don't get reprints soon, this is going to take off just like the ETBs did. Now, the ETBs I don't think are going to come back, to be completely honest. Those are now $200. I don't know if they're going to reprint ETBs. They definitely could. Remember, Paldean Fates came out after 151, not directly after, but like in terms of specialty stats, like it came, post 151. And so there is definitely a capacity for it to be reprinted. And if they reprint things, they usually reprint the bundle. So I would hold on. I think Paldean Fates is an amazing set. In fact, it's probably either the second best or third best set in Scarlet Violet era. And I think people are starting to realize that. I actually recently bought a display case for Paldean Fates because I didn't have any exposure except for a Pokemon Center ETB and a normal ETB. I wanted more. I bought the display case. I don't think it's a bad time to get in right now, but I think you should be wary for reprints. If they come, I'm going to DCA. I'm going to buy another one, dollar cost average. I think this is a decent buy. You're not going to go wrong buying this. If it goes down, buy more. Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer boxes. I think this is a hidden gem. Guys, this is one of the best promos in the Scarlet and Violet era. This is the promo that comes in the Paldea Evolved Elite Trainer box. This is an insanely good promo. Most ETBs do not have a promo that's even half this good. Okay? This is insane. And when kids grow up, they're going to think, wow, this is the starters that I started my journey with back in Scarlet and Violet. And Pikachu's right there, and this card looks amazing. PSA 10 right now is $65. If I were going to bet in a PSA 10 thing, I would bet on this. If you haven't seen, guys, the Pokemon Center promo is insanely expensive. $865 PSA 10. That's insane. Getting off topic. Yeah, I think, well, not necessarily off topic, but like, that kind of plays into why I think this box will go up over time, and I think people are starting to realizing that. I don't think this ETB is going to get much reprints. If I'm going to be honest, they don't really seem to like reprinting ETBs. I think it might be because of a tariff situation. I don't know, right? Because a lot of those like small things are made in China for sure. No idea how that affects anything. But all I know is that I feel like they're kind of avoiding reprinting ETBs. So I actually think this is a pretty good pickup. Paldea Evolved also, very, very good set. Very good set. But I think what's a little bit better is actually Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest is one of the most underrated sets right now in Sword and Shield. It has one of the best, it has two of the best chase cards in Rayquaza and in Lugia. That Lugia is generationally good. I think a lot of people are underrating it and underrating how popular Lugia is as a Pokemon. As someone who loves Lugia, you know. And yeah, I think this is a great ETB to pick up at the current price. I think it's going to reach 100 by the end of the year easily. Journey Together PC ETBs. Now this, I believe, besides Shrouded Fable, I believe this is the least expensive PC ETB right now. And I think that's criminal. That is criminal. I think people are sleeping on Journey Together right now, and they're going to realize what they're missing. Because this promo is one of the best ETB promos we've ever gotten, and I think in a PSA 10, this thing is going to go crazy. I mean, right now, it's already at $300. The PC promo in a 10 is at $300. And guys, these are notoriously hard to grade, and these are notoriously, you know, there's less abundance of them. Because they're promos that come in at ETB, they grade horribly. So that usually leads to a pretty bad gem rate, which is good for the rarity. Anyway, I think this is a pretty good, if you want to get into the PC ETB market, you don't really have much exposure to PC ETBs in general, this is a good one to pick up, for sure. Shrouded Fable is okay, this is good. Now we're getting into my top 3. Lost Origin Elite Trainer boxes at $100 is an insanely good pickup, guys. The booster box is $500 right now. If you don't know, right now, Fusion Strike ETBs are at, I think, 170. I wanted to put on this video. I can't. It's over 100. And guys, Fusion Strike is at 700. Lost Origin is at 500. There's a 200 gap difference between the booster boxes, but there's a $70 difference between the ETBs. I think that's a pretty big discrepancy if you're considering the numbers there, I think. And so I think that, you know, Lost Origin ETBs actually have a lot of room to grow. As the booster boxes get expensive, the packs get expensive, this is going to get expensive. I bought a ton of these for like 30, like 20 after the Target sale. I don't know. I feel like it was in that range, like around like 25 or 30 or 35 or something. I don't know. It was in that range. I'd have to check my collector app, but dude, these were super cheap at one point. And if you held on to them since then, kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. I think these are still a good pickup though at $100. I think they will continue to go up and kind of follow Fusion Strike, follow Evolving Skies, and the rest of Sword and Shield as it rises. This is a really, really good set. Now, this is my number 2, but at the same time, it's a cautious number 2 because I don't know if this is going to get reprinted or not. We've had a lot of reprints of 151. I think we're going to keep getting more into the summer, but I don't know if any more reprints are going to do anything to the price at this point. Because it's been sitting at like $60 for, I feel like, since December? Yeah, since November. Like when I got into the hobby, or back into the hobby, was around like this area. So for me, 151 bundles have basically been the same price. It's gone up very gradually, and it's been getting reprinted like nothing you've seen. And so that tells me that there is a lot of natural demand for this product. That tells me that once they stop reprinting this, it is going to skyrocket like the ETV did. It is going to skyrocket. And so I think you need to get on this train while you can. I just don't know if this is the best price, because I do think the reprints are going to come, and I think you might get a chance to get it at MSRP. But you are playing with fire if you are not buying this at some point. I'm telling you, once this stops getting reprints, it is going to the moon. Just like the ETBs did. And if you have more money, I mean, I'll do another video of like under 500, under 1,000, you know, for future videos. But just for this under 100, you know, if you can, I would consider the bundle display at some point. Maybe not now, because there's still a lot of supply of this on the market, right? Still a lot of supply. It could take a really big reprint could happen and tank all of these. But given all the information that I've seen, I think it would be unwise for me to tell you not to pick it up, because this is a hugely in-demand set. It's gonna be one of the best sets that was ever printed. I think the best Scarlet and Violet specialty set. I think this actually beats Prismatic in terms of like general popularity, if I'm being completely honest. Like this has been reprinted so many more times and it's the same price, if not more than Prismatic. Like, and I think we're gonna get a lot more Prismatic remits, don't get me wrong, but yeah, 151 is this is underrated, guys. You need to pick up more 151 for sure. At some point. I think you might be able to find it for MSRP. If you check more often. And have pings and stuff, you know, it'll take some effort to get it from MSRP, but you probably can. But yeah, this is not a bad buy. And lastly, I think the number one product I would probably recommend are Crown Zenith booster bundles. Guys, this is probably the second best set of Sword and Shield, if I'm being completely honest. I love Lost Origin. I love Fusion Strike. I think they have some amazing chase cards, but Crown Zenith has a depth that is kind of unrivaled, and it has one of the most fun ripping experiences, and I don't think people realize how much that's going to play into the price later on, because if people love ripping this, that means rip and shippers are going to buy it at troves, and rip and shippers don't care about the price of packs. Like, we're seeing this vintage is going up because people are ripping a lot of vintage now. As people rip more vintage, it's going to keep skyrocketing. And ripper and shippers are contributing to that, and they're going to contribute to Crown Zenith, because supply is not infinite. Guys, supply, that's what creates a market, right? Supply is not infinite. It sounds obvious, but like once Crown Zenith booster bundles are just ripped and shipped through, oh my god, this booster bundle is going to be worth so much. I can already tell. The ETBs are already at 170, and we're not getting any more reprints of this. We're not going to see any more booster bundles. I think if you have no Crown Zenith, I think you need to get in now. This is even more urgent than 151 because this train will take off without you. 85 is not a bad buy-in. Once it starts reaching those hundreds, 200s, you're going to feel a lot less inclined to buy this. So I would buy it now. It's already seen 144% in the last year, and it was still getting reprinted. Guys, I was picking up Crown Zenith ETBs in like November. Dude, this thing was getting reprints for so long, and now that it's finally not bogged down by all these reprints, like you can see, look, these are reprints that happened, still just chugging along. What an insane set! One of the best sets we've ever seen in Pokemon history. I think it's gonna stand up there as one of the best. And I think you need to buy into booster bundles like now, if not yesterday. So those are my top picks for things under $100, and the reason that I included things that were bad picks at the beginning is because I don't want you guys to FOMO into products that are too new, because your money, look, those are good sets. I'm not saying Prismatic and DR are bad sets. They are good sets, but when you invest, you want your money to work efficiently. Okay, go check out my video on how I made $9,000 investing in just a few months. Because I'll kind of break down some bigger points and some bigger ideas that I'm trying to convey about getting into any market, really. Like, because I mainly come from investing in normal stocks and Bitcoin and stuff, and then when I realized that Pokemon cards sealed are almost just stocks in a way for sets, I love the idea. I just wish we could get more of it to normal collectors. They deserve to have things at MSRP. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. If you like the video, subscribe. And yeah, thanks so much.